Hi, ladies and gentlemen. Today we're going to be talking about how to cite an image using MLA Citation. So as you can see here, I am on Google Classroom because you're going to be turning everything in on Google Classroom like we have been doing for the past like 5 weeks now. So you're going to create your Google document, you're going to turn it in, but you're going to actually have to do the citation. So I'm going to give you a quick hint. Normally we would go onto the Al Purdue website, and we can do that really quickly. And when you do, whoops, wrong website. When you go onto the Al Purdue website, you will notice that your drop-down box does not list what we're doing today. That means we have to do it by hand. So it's either going to be a book, a journal article, online film, or video. We're actually doing an image, so we cannot cite it this way today. We're actually going to have to cite it by hand. So we're not even going to worry about MLA citation for this time. But we are going to need to pull up here this Jocelyn Art Museum in Omaha, Nebraska, because this is what the image we're going to cite. So I know some of you are doing projects, whether you're going to be doing a project with art or your project with a saint. When you're doing your project, you're looking up that artist and you're going to look at an image and you're going to use that image in your project, or you're going to use that image in your report. And when you do, you have to make sure that you put that image in your MLA citation. So we're pretending that we're doing a big report on Edward Degas, and we're going to use this image here, which is the little dancer. And we have to put this in our MLA citation because we're using this as a source. So going back to our Google Classroom, it kind of tells you the format we're going to follow. We're going to use this format right here. We have to provide the artist's name, the work of art italicized, the date of the creation, the institution and city where the work is housed. And this is what it's going to look like. This is an example right here. However, this is not set up correctly, and of course we're going to set it up correctly when we do our MLA citation on our works cited page. But we see the first thing we need is the artist's name. So we're going to look here at our Jocelyn Art Museum, and we're going to notice that the artist that we're working with is Edward Degas. So on our works cited page, remember, your works cited page is going to be a Google Doc in your Google Classroom. I cannot do it that way because I'm not handing in the project. So I'm just going to do it on Word to show you. So in the center, we're going to put works cited. Remember, works cited. And then we're going to start our citation all the way over at that left-hand side. And of course, it is Degas, Edgar, period. So we already have our artist. It's Edgar Degas. And that is how we have to do it. Of course, it's always last name first, comma first name last, period. Now, for our second piece of information, we need the title of the piece. And it is an interesting title because it's not just the little dancer, it's Little Dancer Aged 14. That is our whole title. Notice, and this is helpful for you, it is italicized here on the Jocelyn Art Museum website. We also have to italicize this in our MLA citation. So we have to italicize this. We don't italicize the artist's name, we do italicize the name of the art piece. So I'm going to go back to my Word document here. Yours is going to be done in Google Classroom. Remember, a period goes after the title of the art piece. The next piece of information we need is the date it was created. So we have two creation dates here. It was actually molded in 1878 through 1881, but it was cast in 1920 to 1921. We're actually going to use the cast date. Now, if you use the model date, that's okay too, but that's when it was modeled. It was actually made, the bronze was actually cast in 1920 through 1921. And you have to put that whole entire date down. So, on your citation, it would be 1920 through 1921, because that is the exact date it was made. It was casted. Yes, it was sculpted in the 1800s, but it was actually casted in the 1900s. And then, of course, you need to put your period after that. The next piece of information, and I'm not even going to have you look because we've been looking, we need to put the institution this is at. And of course, we're on the Jocelyn Art Museum website. So that is the institution that is housing this particular piece of art. So we need to put the Jocelyn Art Museum. With a comma this time. So we have a period here, we have a period here, we have a period here, and now we have a comma because our next piece of information is the website we got this from. So going back to our Jocelyn Art Museum website, we just literally copy and paste it. So we have to highlight it, we have to copy it, and then we paste it. After that, we need to make sure we put our period there and our space. The very last thing we have to do is say when we accessed this website, and today's date is when we accessed it. Now your date might be a little different than my date, but today's date is 7 DEC 2020 period. We do it in the European style of dating where we do the day, then the month abbreviated if we can, and then the year with the period. So that is our works cited. Of course, it's not set up correctly because we need to make sure it is double spaced. Oh, and sometimes that does happen with those websites. Go all the way over. That is the tricky thing about double spacing. Sometimes you have to do it this way. And then you have to tab it over. Sometimes you can double space it, sometimes you actually have to go up here. Google Docs has the same thing. Here's a trick though. Sometimes you do a double space here, and then when you go to double space it, it gets all messed up. So please make sure you double space it all at the same time if you want to do something like that. So this is how your works cited page should look. The only problem is it is not Times New Roman. It is 12-point font though. So I have it set up where it is 12-point font, Times New Roman. You see that works cited is centered. We start Degas, comma, Edward period, right at the very left-hand side. We keep going. We have to tab it over until we're done with that citation. We know we're done when we put the access date, December 2020. And one thing that I forgot to put on here is accessed. So it's accessed 7 December 2020. So this is how your works cited should look when you turn it into me. You actually have to hand type it this time, and you have to make sure it is set up correctly. Now, sometimes you can have trouble setting it up on Google Docs. I don't know why Google Docs can be kind of a pain when it comes to tabbing over and when it comes to rearranging it. If that's the case, you can always do it on Word, and then you can, of course, copy and paste it into Google Docs. Or you can do your best, and if you're having a lot of trouble, you can just send it to me, and then I will help you format it. So even if you just kind of get down the information, get it down correctly, and then if you just can't get that formatted, I will help format it for you and send it back to you so it is correct, so you can see what a correct citation looks like. For some reason on Google Docs, it can be tricky, and I don't know why. Sometimes it just does that. But if you can't, do that. Just send it to me. I'll send it back to you, and I'll help you format it too. Just as long as you've got that information on there. That way you can look off of it then when you actually do it in a Word document, which is a bit easier. So if you have any questions, you can always email me, but that should answer your questions on how to cite a source using images in MLA Citation. You just have to follow the rules and plug in the information. That's it. And then when you're done and you have this all done in Google Docs, just send it to me. And if you're having troubles formatting it, just write me a little note on there too. So, boys and girls, I'll see you next week. Bye.